Hi Foundations of Business Analysis students, and welcome to this Excel tutorial on descriptive statistics. Today what we're going to focus on is how to describe continuous variables. Now what we know in business analysis is that as we often collect data from a large number of observations, we want to be able to distill that data down into a format where we can easily identify some of the key characteristics. Descriptive statistics enable us to do that, and we're going to jump into Excel to see how we can perform descriptive statistic analysis. So what I've got open in front of me is our real estate case study, and the particular variable I'm going to focus on within this video is the sale price variable. So in this spreadsheet we've got observations for 1,200 different sales, and what we might be interested in is identifying some of the key characteristics of the sale price for properties within this area. So the way I do that is by selecting the data ribbon and clicking on the data analysis toolpack. Now if the data analysis toolpack is not added in, you'll need to go through the process of adding that to your browser. So I select data analysis, and here I've got a list of different tools that I can apply. The one I'm focusing on is descriptive statistics, so I'm going to select that option and click OK. For my input range, I'm going to select the range whereby all those house prices fall within, which in this case is cell B2 to cell 1B 1201. And I'm going to make sure the box down here is selected for Excel to report the summary statistics for me. I'm then going to click OK. And we can see here in this new worksheet, a descriptive statistic table has been calculated. So if I want to interpret this descriptive statistic table, what I can see is that I use descriptive statistics to look at three different components of a variable's distribution: the center, the spread, and the shape of the distribution. So looking at the center first of all, the mean or the average sale price is $225,701, while the median house price, the median being the observation in the middle, is $199,700. The mode, or the most frequent observation, is $155,000. So we can use those three descriptive statistics to get us a feel for the center of this variable, or the middle observation for this particular variable. The second thing I want to look at is the spread, and there's two ways we can look at spread. First of all, the range gives us the difference between the minimum and maximum observation, and we can see the range here is quite large. It's about $1.12 million. A statistical measure of spread is the standard deviation. The standard deviation gives us a feel for the deviation from the mean of the data. So here we've got a standard deviation of $117,459. Now in coming weeks, when we look at the characteristics of the normal distribution, we can actually see that that standard deviation gives us an important meaning, because we expect within a normal distribution that 65% of all observations will fall one standard deviation either side of the mean. So if we take this average value and we add the standard deviation, and then we take the mean value and subtract the standard deviation, that will give us a range within which we expect about 2/3 of house prices to fall. The last descriptive statistic that we use to describe this variable is its shape. And in terms of shape, what we're looking at here is whether or not the shape is symmetrical, whether we expect this variable to follow a normal distribution. For shape, I focus here on the skewness and kurtosis. In particular, I'm going to look at skewness. Skewness is the degree of asymmetry, and we can see that that skewness is 2.24, which is quite different from 0. A positively skewed distribution means that this distribution has a much longer right tail compared to the left tail. Or that means that there are extreme positive observations within our sample. So we can use this table to give us a really quick snapshot of what house prices look like in a particular area. One other really effective way that we can report descriptive statistics is doing it visually using a histogram. So if I go back to my raw data, and once again I select this house price variable, and I click on the data menu and go back into the analysis toolpack, another option I can select is a histogram. So a histogram gives us a visual representation of our descriptive statistics. So I'm going to click OK. Now, in this particular case, it's asking me for my input range, and my input range is the data, the sale price data, so again, B2 through to B1201. Now, a histogram is actually going to combine my continuous variable into a whole lot of bins or into a whole lot of categories. If I leave that undefined, if I don't put anything in this bin range category, Excel will automatically calculate the particular bins that are most appropriate from my distribution. So I'm going to leave that one blank. And the last thing I'm going to look for down the bottom here is I'm going to select Chart Output. I'm going to ask for the visual representation of that histogram and then click OK. So we can see here Excel has created all these bins or all these different categories, and it's looked at the frequency distribution or the number of observations that fall within each of those bins. But what I'm most interested in here is this histogram. Now, we can see that this histogram represents the data we saw before, because on the earlier chart, the descriptive statistics told us that the midpoint was around about $200,000, depending on whether we use the mean or median. That's around about this value, which visually makes sense. We also saw before that the data was quite spread apart based on the standard deviation and the range, and we can visually see that spread on this histogram. Last of all, our descriptive statistics told us that this variable had positive skew, and that's what we can see up here. We can see that there are these extreme right tail observations that mean that the variable is not symmetrical. The distribution looks as if someone has grabbed the right tail and given it a yank, pulled some extreme observations out this way. So that's performing descriptive statistic analysis in Excel using both the Data Analysis Toolpack Descriptive Statistic add-in and also the visual representation using a histogram. Thanks for watching.